It has been a long time since I got a new game when it came out. That wasn't Pokemon. But a couple months ago, I got a brand new MacBook Pro with Boot Camp, which makes a pretty damn good PC. Avengers. That's what it's called. So Avengers is the new Marvel game from Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix, the team that brought us those new Tomb Raider games. When the trailers and stuff were released for this game, I was like, it looks okay. I wasn't really hell-bent on getting it. In fact, right up until the release date, I was kind of 50-50 on whether I was gonna get it at all. But I ended up getting it just because I had a new MacBook Pro with Boot Camp, so I could play it. In fact, ever since I got my new MacBook Pro, I've been playing games that I haven't been able to play, like Batman Arkham Knight, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I played both those games, and they're both awesome, and now I've played Avengers. So in this Avengers game, it starts out the Avengers are a well-oiled machine, but then this big incident goes down that results in the disbanding of the Avengers. They're considered outlaws now because this Terrigen material was accidentally released on the world, resulting in quite a few people getting powers of their own. Really is the creation of the Inhumans, which if you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, you already know what that's all about. One of these Inhumans is Kamala Khan, who some of you may know as Miss Marvel. And this game is really her story. In fact, so much so that this game should not really be called Avengers. It should be called Miss Marvel and the Avengers, because this game is really her story. She's the main character. The real story of the game picks up 5 years after that incident that resulted in the disbanding of the Avengers, the incident now known as A-Day, and Kamala Khan discovers some things about that incident, and really we're working on getting the Avengers back together, so we can save the world from George Tarleton, aka MODOK, and AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, you know, the bad guys from Iron Man 3, and so here we go with our Avengers game. And to be honest, yeah, this game's gotten some mediocre reviews, and in my opinion, it's not the best game ever, but it's still pretty fun. First off, I love Kamala Khan. She's awesome. And this game was really my introduction to that character. I mean, yeah, I watched a couple of those Marvel Rising cartoons, but really those cartoons were about a group of people. This game is like about Kamala Khan. And it starts out, she's a fangirl, she loves the Avengers, and it turns out that she is Inhuman, and so her power is pretty much the same as Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. She can stretch really far, she can grow really big, so her powers aren't exactly original, but her character certainly is. And the game's story does a really good job at getting you on her side, getting you to like her. Cause yeah, she's a victim of A-Day, but with these new powers, she's like, no, I now have an obligation to do good because I'm a good person. And as the story progresses, you find more Avengers and recruit them to the team, and we're getting the band back together. You know, the Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow. No Hawkeye though. I know he's coming, he's gonna be like DLC later, but the main story of the game, no Hawkeye at all. But the Avenger characters, they're alright. I mean, let's face it, when it comes to definitive Avenger characters, we have the movies. But I like the Avenger characters in this game, for the most part. Captain America in this game is really cool. Like, you listen to his voice and you're like, that is Captain America. Because he's all like, yes, I am Captain America. The price of freedom is high, but it's a price I'm willing to pay. He doesn't say that in the game, but that's what he sounds like. I also really like Bruce Banner in this game. He's voiced by Troy Baker, who is a well-known video game voice actor. But Bruce Banner in this game I really like because he's still, like, he's really Bruce Banner. And by that I mean he's really socially awkward. Like, whenever he's talking with someone, he's like, yeah, okay, go do this, and I'll stay over here and work on my science stuff. He ends up being the one that Kamala Khan really bonds with, and I like that friendship, you know? They're both outsiders, still trying to adjust to this world. It was well done. The one Avenger character that I had something of a problem with was Tony Stark. Yeah, he's voiced by Nolan North, who is another well-known video game voice actor, and I don't know, there's something about his voice, I was like, that's not Tony Stark. I'm not saying I require him to be Robert Downey Jr., but I don't know, there's just something about his voice that rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, that doesn't feel like Iron Man. Like, example, you're doing combat, you're throwing down with guys, and you'll hear Iron Man go, all I do is win, win, win. When I first heard him say that, I was like, oh my god, please don't ever say that again. Yeah, he actually said that. I'm not lying. I don't know, he just sounds like an average Joe guy. He doesn't sound like Iron Man. At least not in my opinion. I think Nolan North did a better job voicing Deadpool. Now, as for the villain in this game, the main villain that you fight in this game is MODOK, who's a villain I'm not too familiar with. I mean, the most familiar I am with MODOK was that mobile Avengers Academy game that's no longer a thing, where he's all like, let's be friends. And I always thought MODOK was kind of a silly looking villain, very unrealistic. Like, there's a reason he hasn't been in the movies, because he's a really bizarre concept. And the way they did MODOK in this game, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's why he's never been in the movies. Because he was kind of a silly villain. He believes that Inhumans are a disease, they're a disgrace on the world, and he wants to wipe them all out. I do like how he looks in this game though. He does look pretty cool. As long as you don't think of that big-headed villain from the Green Lantern movie, that is. But I mean, come on, he's got this big mechanized chair, he's controlling all these robots, so looks-wise, yeah, it's cool, but just story, character, villain-wise, Now, as for the gameplay of this game, this is where the mediocre part of the reviews start coming in, because the gameplay is a little rough. The way I see the gameplay in this game is it is like a mix of the Batman Arkham games and the Tomb Raider games, the new ones, both of which I've played and both of which I think are awesome. So when I realized that the gameplay in this game is like a mix of those two games, I was right into it. I was like, oh, okay, I know this gameplay. Yeah, let's do this. The combat is the Batman Arkham part. You know, you're going around, you're just beating the shit out of guys. I play it on computer, so it's just click, 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 just punching guys. Your left click is your light attack, you hit F, it's your heavy attack. Of course, I like to play as Miss Marvel the most, because she's the character I latched onto. And she can reach really far, so you're just going around, you feel like Elastigirl. You can reach out and grab guys and drag them around like Groot did in Guardians of the Galaxy. That's really fun. As for playing as the other Avenger characters, they're alright. I like playing as Black Widow because you have your pistols and you're just like bam, 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 bam. Rapid fire, you know I like my rapid fire. Playing as Iron Man, you know, flying around, it doesn't feel like you're going that fast, which is kind of a bummer, because when you're flying around, you want to feel like you're flying through a city, which you are, but it just doesn't feel like it's as exhilarating as it is in other games where you fly. But the Tomb Raider part of the gameplay is when you're going around and exploring places. It was awesome. Like, you know how you jump at a wall and then you scramble to get to the top? I was like, oh, that's right out of Tomb Raider, which makes sense because Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix, they're the team that brought us those Tomb Raider games. So I shouldn't have been surprised that a lot of the gameplay in this game is like the Tomb Raider games. But I was, because I hadn't even thought about that. You jump into zip lines and going down, that's right out of Tomb Raider. You walk towards an opening in a wall and you'll automatically just squeeze through it. That's right out of Tomb Raider. I don't know, it just got me excited. I was like, oh, I know this gameplay. I've played it before. It was that feeling of familiarity, you know? It made me feel at home playing this game. But as for the usual bad guys you take out, they are kind of lame because they're just robots. They're AIM robots that come in different forms. Some are, you know, your basic little robots that you just punch, 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 and then they go down. Others, man, they're pretty hard to take down because they hit you and they hit you hard. Like those big adaptoids with different powers. The first Black Widow mission you play in this game, you have to take down these adaptoids, and I died a couple times, and I was playing easy mode. It just took some getting used to. And then, of course, there are the big robots who you see and you're like, oh god, okay, I'm gonna need a lot of firepower. Hulk, where are you? Actually, I'll say playing as the Hulk is pretty fun, because he had that move where you're in the air and then you just go, and you just smash the ground. That's how you take out the bigger robots. But the fact that the bad guys are robots, getting back to my original point, yeah, that's just kind of lame, because they're just mindless droids. Although I did like the really big robots. The boss fights, they were kind of tough, but they look cool. The gear system in this game is pretty complex. And normally in games like this, I don't really care for the gear systems. Like, oh, you have +5 power and +5 whatever. I'm just like, I don't care. Just do whatever makes me strong and let me progress with the story. But this game absolutely lets you do that. Because whenever you get new gear, you can just go to your character menu, go to the gear section, and then you can just hold Q and it automatically equips the best gear. So you're like, oh, okay, that didn't take too long. Now back to fighting. I appreciate that. And the missions, okay. The game is structured where you have your central hub, which is the helicarrier called the Chimera, and when you want to progress with the story, you go to this war table and you can choose the mission you want to go on. You have your main story mission, and then you have your side missions. But after a while, you start to realize that the missions are kind of repetitive. They're just the same thing. I mean, they're different kinds of missions, but they all involve taking out a lot of bad guys. But you know, some of them you have to protect these objectives while fighting off waves of bad guys, and others you have to stay in one spot while Jarvis uploads to a system, and while you're in this one spot, that's right, you have to fight off waves of bad guys. In fact, that kind of reminded me of Overwatch. Because it's like, oh, protect the payload from the enemies that are coming. That's what it felt like. They're fun, but they are repetitive. A little more variety in the missions would have been nice. One thing that did bum me out about the story is that you can't freely switch between the characters during the main campaign. I mean, on one side, I do get it, because in order for the story to progress, you know, this part of the story, you need to play as this certain character. But between the missions, I can't switch to Kamala Khan and just run around on the helicarrier and do whatever. I have to be Tony Stark right now. Okay. You don't get the thing that lets you switch between the characters until after the main campaign is over. After I beat the main story, which did not take me that long, it only took me like a couple days. Yeah, the main story is not long at all. Comparatively speaking to like Batman Arkham Knight, which will take me weeks to beat, this game just took me a couple days. So you're like, I don't know if it's worth $60. But anyway, after I beat the main story, I saw the thing that let me switch between characters. I was like, oh, there it is. All right, cool. Now I can just be Kamala Khan and rip shit into bad guys. And as for the different skins you can have in the game, you know, there are a bunch of different outfits that you can unlock if you do enough missions and get enough money, which takes a lot of missions to do. Like, there are certain objectives, if you do this and this and this, like get enough experience or hit enough bad guys with this certain kind of attack, then you can unlock this certain outfit. I didn't really care to do that, because you just have your main outfits and you're good. I do wish that Miss Marvel's main outfit had a place in the story, because for most of the story, you're going around in this kind of makeshift Miss Marvel outfit, and then at the very end of the story, you get like a Stark version of it, which is cool, and that's the version I always use. But if you want the regular, iconic version of Miss Marvel's outfit, you have to do a a certain list of objectives. But by then it's too late, because you're like, okay, I could have that iconic outfit, or I could use the Stark outfit, which is admittedly way cooler. Kind of felt like I was wasting my time with those objectives, which is a bummer. Of course, the easiest way to get new outfits is to actually pay real money, you know, microtransactions, where the real money from games is made. I don't care. I haven't done any microtransactions with this game yet, and I don't really plan on doing it. I already spent 60 bucks on this game, and I even felt like that was too much. I'm not about to spend more. Maybe on the DLC characters when they come out, though. We'll see how cool they are. Now, as for the music in this game, it was written by Bobby Tahori. I think that's how you pronounce it. He also wrote the music for Rise of the Tomb Raider, and the music in this game is alright, but I mean, let's face it, when it comes to Avengers music, we have our iconic Avengers theme. It's called the Avengers Theme from Alan Silvestri. It's called Portals. Who are we kidding? So I felt like they were like, okay, Bobby, write an Avengers theme. You know it's not going to be as iconic as the one from the movies, but just make it sound like a good video game theme. It's serviceable, but it's not really memorable. So in the end, Avengers is, like I said, not the best game ever. I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay. The combat is kind of rough, but I do love the story. I love Kamala Khan. She's my girl now. In fact, I feel like you can't play this game and not get super excited for the Miss Marvel TV series that's coming, because now I'm so excited to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing Kamala Khan in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be awesome. She is the best part of this game for sure. The story is good. It's serviceable, the bad guys are kind of lame, but it's not bad, you know? It's fun. I'm still gonna go back to playing it after I make this video. I'm gonna do some more missions, but I'm not sure how much longer I'll be playing this game. I feel like Gotham Knights is gonna be more fun than this, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I know that's a judgment call, but we'll see how it goes. I'd say if you're a Marvel fan, because this game is for Marvel fans. If you're not familiar with a lot of Marvel things, then you're gonna go into this game being like, I don't get a lot of what's going on here. But if you are a Marvel fan like yours truly, then I'll say this game is definitely worth getting when it goes on sale, because 30 bucks seems like a better price for this. After having played the entire thing, 60 bucks, I felt like I spent a little too much money. But come the next Steam sale and this game takes a price cut, yeah, buy it, because you'll have fun. If for nothing else, just do it to play as Kamala Khan and see what she's all about, because she's just awesome. I can't get over how awesome she is. Seriously, this game did for her what Into the Spider-Verse did for Miles Morales. So, Marvel's Avengers, have you gotten the game? Have you played it? What did you think about it? And what are your thoughts on Kamala Khan, the character from the comics, the games, TV shows, whatever? What do you like about her? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.